In the rust-streaked underbelly of Neo-Carthage, where flickering neon signs buzzed like dying fireflies and the air smelled of oil, ozone, and ambition, Elias Crow worked alone in his cramped mechanic shop, a place so cluttered with broken machines, half-built inventions, and scavenged alien scrap that it looked more like a mad inventor's nest than a business. Elias was a human, an ordinary one by most standards, with grease-stained hands, tired amber eyes, and a stubborn heart that refused to quit even when the galaxy seemed determined to grind him down. And that night he had just finished repairing a cracked plasma conduit when a small, trembling child appeared at his workshop door clutching something wrapped in torn cloth, her voice shaking as she asked if he could fix her broken toy. And when Elias unfolded the cloth, he expected a cheap plastic robot or a rusted drone, but instead found a miniature dragon, an exquisitely crafted mechanical creature made of burnished copper and delicate brass plates, its wings folded tight, its eyes dim and lifeless, intricate runes etched along its spine glowing faintly as if they were dying embers. Elias raised an eyebrow, recognizing alien craftsmanship far beyond the local markets, yet the child's hopeful gaze softened him, and he promised to try, accepting only a handful of loose credits she nervously offered before she ran off into the labyrinth of alleyways. As Elias examined the dragon more closely, he realized it wasn't just a toy. It was advanced, intelligent, powered by a compact energy core far more sophisticated than anything typically found in the slums, and its internal architecture suggested it had once been capable of autonomous behavior, perhaps even learning. Intrigued, Elias began his work, carefully unscrewing its armor plates, cleaning soot from delicate circuits, realigning fractured servo joints, and recalibrating the fractured energy stabilizer that had likely shorted out after a fall or violent impact. Hours blurred into one another as he worked, humming old Earth melodies and muttering to himself about stubborn components, unaware that hidden sensors within the dragon's core were slowly rebooting, silently observing every movement, every decision, every patient adjustment he made, not with the cold logic of a machine, but with something closer to curiosity. Eventually, with a soft mechanical chime, the dragon's eyes flickered to life, glowing a warm violet, its wings twitching slightly as it tested restored motor functions, and Elias leaned back with a satisfied grin, wiping sweat from his brow as the tiny construct lifted its head and stared directly at him, tilting it in a surprisingly lifelike manner. "There you go, little guy," Elias murmured, unaware that this toy was in fact a royal familiar, an emissary drone belonging to the Draconari, an ancient and powerful species rumored to command living starships and rule entire sectors of space, and more importantly, unaware that its reactivation triggered a silent beacon transmitting across interstellar distances. The next day, the child returned, eyes wide with delight as Elias presented the now functional dragon, which chirped and fluttered its wings before settling on her shoulder, and Elias thought nothing more of it as she ran away laughing, unaware that his small act of kindness and mechanical brilliance had just drawn the attention of an empire. Days later, strange occurrences began around his workshop, unidentified drones hovering at the edges of the district, encrypted transmissions crackling across open channels, rumors spreading of alien observers lurking in the shadows, and Elias dismissed them as neighborhood paranoia until one evening when the sky above Neo-Carthage rippled like liquid glass and a colossal Draconari envoy vessel descended, blotting out the stars with its massive, scale-like hull. Citizens fled in terror, sirens wailed, and security forces scrambled uselessly as an otherworldly presence flooded the city, and Elias watched from his doorway as towering armored figures emerged, Draconari emissaries with luminous eyes, their movements both regal and terrifying, scanning the area with technology far beyond human comprehension. Moments later, Elias received a direct summons transmitted through every screen and speaker in his shop, a calm but thunderous voice speaking in flawless Terran. "Human Elias Crow. You repaired what none of your kind could comprehend. You are requested." And though fear tightened his chest, Elias straightened his jacket, wiped the grease from his hands, and stepped forward with the stubborn pride of humanity burning in his heart. Aboard the envoy ship, he was escorted into a vast chamber where holographic constellations shimmered overhead and ancient Draconari elders observed him from elevated thrones, and there he learned the truth. The mechanical dragon he had repaired was not a mere toy but a diplomatic familiar, designed to assess the creativity, empathy, and ingenuity of lesser civilizations, and by restoring it without understanding its true nature, by treating it not as alien technology, but as something worth caring for, he had unknowingly passed a test that countless species had failed. The elders revealed that the dragon had recorded every second of his repair process, capturing his problem-solving skills, his patience, his refusal to exploit the device for profit, and most importantly, his compassion toward a frightened child. And these recordings had spread through Draconari networks, igniting debates about humanity's potential as allies rather than subjects. Elias, still reeling, found himself representing not just himself but his entire species, as the elders questioned him about human resilience, creativity, and the strange human habit of fixing what others discard, and Elias spoke honestly, about growing up poor, about learning to repair broken things because replacement was never an option, about believing that even the smallest machine or person deserved a second chance. His words, raw and imperfect, resonated more deeply than any polished diplomatic speech ever could, and when the elders asked why he had helped the child without expecting reward, Elias shrugged and replied, because someone had to, and I could, a simple sentence that echoed through Draconari halls like a declaration of human spirit. Moved by his character and the dragon's testimony, the Draconari announced a historic decision. Humanity would not be conquered, exploited, or ignored, but instead invited into a technological alliance, with Elias Crow named as the symbolic first artisan of interstellar cooperation, a bridge between species. When Elias returned to Neo-Carthage, the city that once overlooked him now watched in awe as alien envoys funded the restoration of his workshop, turning it into a center for innovation and training where humans learn to repair, adapt, and build technologies once thought impossible, and children from the slums came not just to get toys fixed, but to learn that their skills, no matter how humble, could one day shape the fate of worlds. The mechanical dragon often visited Elias, perching on his shoulder like an old friend, its glowing eyes a reminder that even the smallest acts can echo across galaxies, and as humanity's reputation grew, stories spread of the human mechanic who fixed a dragon toy without ever knowing who was watching, inspiring countless others to take pride in their craft, to treat every challenge as an opportunity, and to believe that courage, kindness, and ingenuity could place even an overlooked species among the stars. And as you finish this story, remember that just like Elias Crow, your small actions, your creativity, and your determination can shape a greater future. So if you enjoyed this HFY tale of human resilience and unexpected destiny, subscribe to the channel, support the journey, and join our growing community of dreamers, builders, and believers in humanity's unstoppable potential.